Good morning, boys. Today I thought that we would take a little bit of a break from the novel and to work a little bit on your literary essay. Like I said, next week, Wednesday or Thursday, just check in the playbook actually. You guys are going to be given your essay topic for the novel. Okay. So I just want to take you through a good way that like steps that you need to take when you're writing a literary essay. And I'm going to use like I've used like an example of a discursive like of an essay from the novel. This is not actually going to be the topic that you'll actually get next week. That'll be a different topic. I haven't seen it yet. Okay, so when you're writing a literary essay, first of all, it's usually about 600 words. Get used to writing essays of this length because at matric level, this is the length that is going to be required of you. Okay, all right. So first of all, when you read the title of your essay topic, you need to decide if it is an argumentative essay or if it is a discursive essay. Remember the difference between argumentative and discursive is that an argumentative essay is you need to take a stand. You need to take a stand and choose one side, and you never ever waver to the other side. A discursive essay, you're opening up the topic to discussion and you are looking at all the different aspects and you're not necessarily picking a side. So that's the difference. So when you read an essay topic, you need to decide, am I arguing here or am I discussing? But either way, I need to kind of make a stand. Okay. So I came up with this, I kind of put it together myself. I sort of also used Google, it was a bit of everything. But the essay topic that I used here was explain and discuss the differences between how the three main protagonists, that is Jimmy or Snowman, Craig, and Oryx, interpret the current state of the world. In your essay, discuss to what extent their worldviews are problematic. Sorry, that is my English stepping in there and humbling me. Um, discuss to what extent their worldviews are problematic or realistic. Okay, so already the hint here it says discuss. Okay, so you already know that you're dealing with a discursive essay, so you're not necessarily going to pick a side and disprove any other side. And I thought that this was going to be necessary because we're looking at three different worldviews. And I think that you would have more to say if you're discussing all of them as opposed to arguing all of them. Okay. So you are going to need to take about 10 minutes just to plan like what you're going to do with this topic, how you're going to write. Now, I'm saying this, but I understand that we all write differently. I know for me, I write by writing. I just write, and then the planning comes afterwards. I don't necessarily do a whole world map. I don't necessarily do a mind map or decide specifically. But some of you are different writers, and you write in that way. And some of you are lazy, so you're going to say that you write like I do, and that may not be the case. And you may lose your train of thought in your writing. So here's a quick way, and I literally did this in 10 minutes, as in actually in less, as much as I hate planning. Okay. So first of all, you have to decide what your position is. And when we say your position is, what I'm saying is, what is your actual response to this topic? Okay. So in explaining and discussing the differences between how the three main protagonists see the world, okay, what I would say if I was discussing this topic, if I was personally writing this, I would say when I make a stand, I would say that their worldviews are based on their backgrounds, where they come from. They've all experienced some kind of trauma that that has made them see the world the way that they see it now. Okay. And I said there in my position, make a stand in your essay, formulate this into one statement. So I would find a way of writing this out into one statement. And I would start with like general statements where I would say, I would maybe like use examples of R. Kelly, for example, different people who have had rough upbringings and as a result have ended up being abusive or have ended up seeing the world a certain way. Mike Tyson grew up in poverty and he ended up pretty much broke at the end because he bought everything with his money, including a tiger, because he just didn't know how to manage his money because he came from poverty. The examples are endless of people who started off a certain way and that informed their worldview. Okay. Then you start with the main point. Your first decide on what your three main points are going to be. Okay. So then I would talk about the reason why I repeated that sentence in my main point is that in that part of the main point, I would then discuss Jimmy's upbringing, Craig's upbringing, Oryx's upbringing. So that would be my first main point, discussing their three upbringings. And then my next point, I would discuss how they are as adults, for example. I'm just thinking this off the top of my head. And my third point would then be bringing in the realistic, to what extent is it realistic and to what extent is it problematic. Okay. Now, the next point that you need to make, the next thing that you need to do in your planning, check that your main idea, your position, and your main ideas, your three main ideas, you need to make sure that they all support your position. Okay. So you need to keep going back and checking that it supports your main position. Do you have enough points to make your argument? Do any overlap too much? Could they merge? And number each point. But this is still the planning. So you can number and you can use bullet points. Okay. Then the next part that I thought was quite important is the introduction. Okay. Make your position clear using words and phrases from the question. Okay, so when I write my introduction, my opening line, I would say, I would talk about our, our worldview differs based on how we were raised. And then I would straight up say, Jimmy, Craig, and Oryx were all raised differently. They all experienced life differently, and therefore their worldview was different. Okay? Their worldviews were different. Give the reader an overview of the structure of your essay or your approach. So you basically have to say in your essay, what are you going to do? What are you going to discuss in this essay? But you need to do that eloquently. Okay. The next one, kiss. Keep it simple. It's usually kiss like the normal spelling, but it's usually keep it simple, stupid, or silly. Okay. Every statement you make in the intro must be examined in the body. Okay. The register is always formal and it's academic and it's objective. Okay. They're using here examples of Iago from Othello. Um, that's because I adapted this from an Othello essay writing thing. Okay, so Iago is a disgusting racist is a little bit too informal. It can be argued that Iago holds racist beliefs. You see, a little bit more formal, a little more academic, a little bit more objective, actually. Do you see that? It can be argued. Okay, or Shakespeare consistently encourages the audience to view Iago as a racist. So those are just the different ways that you can formulate a certain essay. A big no in this essay, don't do that. Generic intro. Othello is a tragedy written by William Shakespeare that charts the rise. Blah. Don't do that. Don't tell me what the story is about. I was there. I want you to analyze the story. I don't want you to rewrite the story. Okay, that's the first most important thing in a literary essay. Never ever retell me the story. I was there. I probably know it better than you. Don't do it. Okay. So those are all the sort of incorrect ways of doing this thing. Okay. Um, Here's an example of a good intro, and we can actually guess what the question probably was. It is not Antony, but rather Cleopatra, who is the hero in Shakespeare's play, Antony and Cleopatra. So for me, already in that opening line, I can already see that the question was probably like, who would we define as the hero in the play, Antony or Cleopatra? And this person in the opening line has already made their stand. Okay. And yeah, and then the next line is also relevant. Okay, so when you're dealing with your paragraphs, you have to deal with your point. So when you're writing your paragraph, you need to use the acronym PEAS. Okay, like the vegetable. So point from your plan. Okay, so what is your point, which is the main point? So you can actually divide this into your three main points into three different paragraphs or mini paragraphs, right? Because your points may be long, so it may need to be divided into one point can be more than one paragraph. Okay, so your point, evidence, explanation, and signpost. Okay, and they've given you an example here using another play that you can look at. Okay, I'm going to give you this document as well on top of on top of the video so that you guys can do that. And in the conclusion, you're not giving me any new information in the conclusion. You're pretty much saying, basically, what I've discussed is this, which is something that you said in the introduction as well already. Okay? Sum up your argument in a concise way. Again, KISS, keep it simple. Here's an example of a good conclusion. And then here are the guidelines, okay, for a literary essay. And they're using their IEB ones because these are actually the matric guidelines. Okay, we are matric part 1, so everything that we do in grade 11 is in preparation for matric. Okay, so in this period, you are just going to do your planning and you're just going to work on your introduction and see if this way of planning actually works for you. Okay, so that's all you're going to do in this period. So you're going to focus on the writing. You are more than welcome to, one of you actually open the Word document and add me to it. You're welcome to add me to it and ask me whatever you want me to do, whatever points you want me to, pointers you want me to add, or a way that you may not be looking at the topic, okay, just to help you. So in this period, you're just going to do the planning and you're just going to do the introduction, okay. Yeah, have a good day, boys. Let me just fix the spelling. Right click, protagonists. There you go. Okay. All right, have a good day, boys.